Today we're going to ask a question that has been on the minds of magicians for nigh on 4 decades now, and that is this. What's the deal with Paul Daniels?
What is the deal?
What is the deal? What's it all about?
Where does he come from? And why do people watch it?
What is the deal with Paul Daniels?
What is the deal?
And we're going to show you what we mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of Paul Daniels' most beloved performances, one of those beloved pieces of magic. And then you, with us, will be able to watch it in real time and then ask yourself, as we are, what's the deal with Paul Daniels?
For real.
In fact, I know what's already in your mind. You see, I walk on. In fact, I know what's already in your mind. You see, I walk on, a mind reader, I know what you're thinking. What's that?
Everybody good? Can you hear it?
Yeah.
But I'm asking
Many
the question.
What's the deal?
I thought he was going to ask the question right there.
I have a theory, though, as you can tell. Listen to his voice. That gives it away.
people wonder what is that. That is, in truth, the world's oldest recorded trick. Oh, some say. Some actually say this. It's a true story. That there's a hieroglyphic in Egypt on a wall of a man doing this trick. I don't know whether it's true or not. I'm just telling you. That's what they think. All right? Hieroglyphic. If it was this far down the wall, it would be a loroglyphic. You know. Now, what we need to do here is we're going to pick on somebody in the audience. Now, young man there with a sort of a knitted sweater with a light line across and that. You, sir, what's your name?
Chris.
Chris! Good answer, good. Chris, where are you from?
Pick on
Shepherd's
someone's own
Bush.
size.
Shepherd's.
What's that?
He was going to say, I'm going to pick on someone my own size, but not possible.
Bush.
Just over the road.
Just over the road. How nice of you to drop in. Sort of like home from home, isn't it? Now, Chris of Shepherd's Bush, what I must ask you to do is this. I must ask you to answer nice and loud, nice and honest. What's that?
It's a cup.
It is indeed a cup. A cup, like. Because I'm from the north, you see. What you've got to do is this. You take that and you put it there and you use one of these. Now, I only use one cup and one ball. And all you have to do, Chris, is keep your eye on the little white ball. Now, Christopher, is that your full title?
Yeah.
Okay, Christopher, where is the ball?
On top of the cup.
You're wrong. It's on the bottom. The cup is upside down. Years of skill and devotion. Perhaps my speed is baffling you, so I should give you another chance. I'll even put my hands in my pockets. Christopher of Shepherd's Bush, who is now desperately wishing he'd gone to see something else. Christopher, where's the ball?
It's on the top of the cup.
It's on top of the bottom of the cup. And the only time you should worry is if I sneak it into my left hand. Because if the ball's in my left hand, it's in my left hand. If it's not in my hand, it's under the cup. If it's under the cup, it's not in my hand at all. If it's in that hand, it could be in that. If it was in that, it could be up there. If it was up there, it could be down there. If it was in the pocket at the same time, it could be up there at the same time. It's on the cup. If the cup and the ball together, they can't be separate. Except they can't be together. If it's up there at the same time. Now, if the cup and the ball are separate and the cup is empty, you can't have the ball. And got the ball in the cup, you can't be in the pocket. In the pocket, you can't be in the can at the same time. It's on the cup. If, on the other hand, the ball and the cup are together, then the cup... You're not following this, are you?
Woo!
It may help all you, riveting, right? Absolutely. It may help you all to know, and it'll all make more sense if you realize it's all in close-up, but Paul Daniels is actually only this big. And without his green suit on, and without his shillelagh, perhaps you can't tell what's the story.
A lot of those jokes I didn't get. I'm assuming, like, I did notice there you say, "What is that your full title?" That must be a UK thing, right? Yes.
It's certainly fun to hear people speak from the North. You know, he's you know, when they say the North, they don't mean like a Stark of Winterfell. They mean like the North of England, right? And so that is entertaining. I have to believe less so if you're in England. That was a testament to the old vaudeville line. You know, if it's fast enough, it'll be over before anyone knows how bad it is. Man, I just wanted to help break things up because, you know, it was a lot of use, and I felt like, woo!
What's the deal? What's the deal with Paul Daniels?
You know, and normally we don't do it like Jeopardy here, but in this situation, the question is the answer. When you watch that, we can only say, what's the deal with Paul Daniels? What could happen? Look at that. He's tiny.
It's his little brother.
a television action replay. Praise the Lord. You're even nodding slowly, Chris. Where's the ball?
It's in the cup.
In the cup. Take it out, put it into my pocket. Where is it now? For £50.
It's, in your pocket.
In my pocket. In other words, it can't be under the cup, right?
Right.
Wrong. Now this trick, I should teach him this. I mean, there's no point otherwise, is there?
You know, there's that whole thing. We always talk about like phrasing the trick, you know, non-challenging. Like, where is it? Under the cup. Wrong. You're an idiot. You know, but interesting to see that approach.
Old school, dude.
Yeah, old school.
About to break into like something from Oliver. It's like,
That would be awesome.
it reminds me of the Artful Dodger.
Nancy just signed in. She says, who is this guy? And we're asking the same question. This is Paul Daniels. And we're asking, what is the deal with Paul Daniels?
What is the deal? And we defy you to be able to tell us. So we do figure he's probably, you know, part leprechaun at least. And he's doing his signature piece of magic. Then he's going to invite a couple of our favorite magicians on to do a little magic. So to be fair and telegraph it a little bit ahead of time, we're going to be out seeing some magicians that we don't wonder what's the deal with X. But for the moment, we're midway through Paul Daniels' searing rendition of the Chop Cup. Take it away, boss. Take it. Where's Paul Daniels? Take it away, boss.
What do you do for a living, Chris? What's your job, your vocation, your way of life, your occupation?
It's a sales representative for a vending machine company.
What you need is a cup. I mean, I'll teach you this. I've been up here a few minutes. I just walked on, and already you owe me £50. And the doors have been locked. Now, look. Cup, ball, cup. Now, this is how the trick works. It's very simple. You get a cup and a ball, and you show it to be empty, you see, just an empty cup, and you drop the ball in there. Now, the moment the ball is in the cup, I'll teach him this. You take it out with a sweeping, swooping action, right? You sweep it out, you put the ball in your pocket, and you flick it hard. Now, the ball, I know this is a funny thing to say, but the ball actually physically shoots up your sleeve. Yes?
Yeah.
Say yes, Paul.
Yes, Paul.
Good. Now, you've got to put the cup down to catch a ball that goes up your sleeve, across your shoulder, down the side, under the cup. But be very careful that you don't put the ball into the wrong pocket, because when you go flick, everybody claps. Why do they clap? Because when you flick, you've got a lemon. It baffles them completely. Don't know where it's from. Oh, you're lovely, aren't you? If you clap that, you'll go mad over the orange. I don't know where that...
I have never seen anybody do that trick where both loads and one more would have fit inside the cup normally.
It is a pretty big cup.
I told you that the cup was only a shot glass, right? But then he literally produced 2 miniature lemons out of it that I swear were no bigger than the ball he was doing the trick with.
They weren't final loads.
The little ball, you know, Alex has got a look on his face. Look, nobody here knows that you picked out the videos for today, Alex. Nobody knows. You know, they think I did it, you know? It's totally, we picked this on purpose. No, he just got red in his face. Like, why? It's not you that sucks. Man, he's so tiny.
We have a lot of fans of Paul Daniels, and I honestly, growing up, like, I thought he was a magic icon. And I guess when you lived in the UK, he was an icon. I assume he was constantly on TV there. He had one of the longest running TV shows in the world. But you know, as I get older, it's not quite for me. But I will say that, you know, as a kid, I did like it a lot.
Here's a
I'll tell you
question
this
for you,
too,
Aaron.
Sproul.
Here's a question for you. So, with David Copperfield being at the stature that he was in the United States, how did that translate into England compared to Paul Daniels?
Me? You asking me?
Yeah, if you have any sort of sense of that.
I was just trying to first puzzle out George Madrid, and I figure when George Madrid was a kid, watched Paul Daniels, it was really just the excitement of seeing one person that's your own height on television. And that's exciting. I assume and I imagine that that Paul Daniels, from my understanding, was just a beloved TV personality. And if we're going to be frank about it, he's a charming TV personality. And often being on television, being a charming TV personality counts more than anything else. You know?
Well, was he more famous in the UK than David Copperfield, or was David Copperfield more famous in the, you know, what was?
I think David Copperfield's more famous around the world than everybody.
It's hard to say. It's very difficult for us in the United States to appreciate the fact that England is a much smaller country. It's just a smaller country. We have so you could be the top show in the UK, and it's just, there's not the number of people that you would have. So it would look like an entirely different thing. So I've had English friends giggle and laugh and express that someone had a big TV show in England and that it's not the same scale. You know?
Paul was more famous in England. A couple folks have chatted here.
That's good.
1980, no one had heard of David Copperfield. That's something.
That's probably true in 1980.
Well,
you know, Sproul jumped on there.
He was a Dickens character.
Sproul jumped on there. We met him at Magi Fest, and he was super nice guy. He was just really awesome.
Super nice guy.
He died a year after that, I think.
I'm glad because I don't want to be unwoke, and I wouldn't want to make jokes about a man that can't defend himself. And besides, he was beloved of a generation. Beloved. What'd you guys think of that chop cup routine?
I think it's an interesting thing. It definitely moves way too fast for my taste, but I enjoy watching it. And I don't know if it's because I'm a magician, but I enjoy watching him do that routine. And that's one of the reasons I brought it in. I just thought
I think you're basically putting the whole thing in a nutshell, which is that he's likable, he's fun to watch, and it's real compelling. Now, Tommy Cooper, that's another matter. Whole different story, right? A different story for another day. Now, I'm very excited about did he have special guests on the show a lot?
I don't know that it was a lot. I mean, I only, I can only glean what I can being an American looking at this stuff from the outside. But I have a feeling that there was some special guests on all of the shows. That's the feeling I get. I don't think it was like a whole show packed full of special guests. Like at the end, he would say, "Here's a guy I think is great."
Okay, so he had a lot of people to come on and display talents.
There it is. Okay, it was a variety show. Clive, we should have had you on.
We're definitely displaying our Yankiness right now. That's why they say, "Oh, you Yanks."
And
you're what's the deal with Paul Daniels? He was 5'6". It's not any man. It's not every man that can make me feel like a towering inferno.
All right. So he had a variety show that was huge for 15 years in the UK. And one thing he did, very much like Johnny Carson here in the States, is he introduced the world to a lot of magicians and to magic in general. And he's probably responsible for a big portion of the world being turned on to magic. So in this next clip,
the household
name. So in this next clip, we're going to take a look at now the other side of Paul Daniels. He's a performer magician, but he would have guests on. So let's see what happens when he has a real magician. When he has another magician on his show. Here we go. This is a classic, by the way. I've seen this.
Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest speaks only the Spanish of South America. But don't let that put you off. He speaks a little English, and I'm sure that the language is not a barrier, because magic, and especially his magic, is truly international. What he does with one hand, many men have tried and failed to do with two hands. I'm very proud and honored to have him on the show. Will you please welcome Rene Lavand.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you.
I will sit here. You're going to sit too? Okay.
¿Qué carta prefieres? ¿Segunda, cuarta, quinta, novena?
Oh, he asks me, do I want the first, the second, the fourth, the fifth? The third will be fine.
Third.
Whatever is third.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah?
Okay, Jakes.
Jacks.
Jakes, or Jacks. Poker the Jacks.
Yes.
Poker the Jacks. Oh, very good. Cerca del faro del fin del mundo, yo conocí a un griego. Era un hábil jugador de ventaja. Y de él aprendí muchas cosas. Me acuerdo que usaba la púa en el anillo con la que marcaba las cartas en el transcurso mismo de la partida. Y de él, reitero, aprendí muchas cosas. Pasaron 15 años y no nos vimos. Y un día, trabajando yo en Acapulco, en México, llamaron a mi puerta y apareció aquel griego. Claro, en 15 años yo había crecido mucho técnicamente hablando. Y como no quería deberle favores a aquel griego, le enseñé a borrar y pintar las cartas en la mano. En la primera carta que borré, el griego se sorprendió. Igual que ustedes esta noche, yo sé. En la segunda carta que borré, el griego se asombró. En la tercera carta que borré, señora, el griego se irritó. Y en la cuarta carta que borré, el griego me miró como rogándome que le enseñara a borrar y pintar las cartas en la mano.
Oh, wow. I really enjoyed that a lot, right?
Yeah, really.
I'm very curious to know how many of you folks give us a 1 in chat if you've never seen Rene Lavand before that, if that was your first time. Oh man, Richie's having his mind blown.
Oh, buckle up.
What a blessing, huh?
Yeah.
What is the deal with Paul Dan? Okay, here we go.
The deal is he brought us Rene Lavand.
Friends over.
Pero como yo no quería deberle favores a ese gambler, le enseñé la técnica paso a paso. El año pasado en Madrid me enteré por otro gambler que aquel griego había ido a morir a su tierra natal a los 79 años. Créanme que cuando pienso a cuánta gente habrá dejado en la indigencia con esto que yo le enseñara, siento un remordimiento de conciencia. En fin, ojalá en el último instante de su vida se haya arrepentido muy sinceramente ante su Dios y me haya liberado a mí de responsabilidades por haberle enseñado a borrar y pintar las cartas en la mano. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You gotta pause this up because you'll never see an example. You know, there's a book published, right? Or two, at least in the English, of Rene Lavand's work. You know, he had to build this entire approach to magic because he's got that one hand only. And, you know, and if you read the book and learn the stuff, it uses similar principles, right? It uses principles all magicians watching this will be familiar with. But, you know, people often make jokes or they laugh that when people learn certain people's magic, that they tend to look like they're trying to do impressions of those people. Bless your heart if you think you can try and learn Rene Lavand's magic and rock through it. It does not work right.
I have not seen one person do it successfully. Not one.
And when they do, it looks weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because
that's what I'm saying, not successful.
Like you could say, you know, my favorite magician is Rene Lavand. He only has one hand. And so I'm going to do a trick of his just as he would do it. And you place it in your pocket. And it doesn't look right. There's no aspect of it that looks right or balanced or even right. You know, it was so developed so that he could do the fundamental things that need to be done. And it's entwined in his style. how he handles the cards. It's so much, it goes beyond sleight of hand. It's related to the effect of what he is doing on such a deep level that it's fascinating stuff to read, right? But those techniques are for Rene Lavand. And I would say it's probably the strongest example of that. It's almost such a strong example of that. People go, well, sure, that's an example. You know, it's an amazing thing to try and learn that magic. You'll notice he's got a whole style, a whole flow, how he's handling things all the way through.
You know, Aaron, I remember the first time I saw Rene Lavand, I did not even know he only had one hand. Like, I watched him do a whole set of magic and never even noticed that. It wasn't pointed out in the introduction or the video. You know what? It was I guess it was, I don't remember what video it was, but it was some video I watched and I didn't realize he was a one-handed magician till the end. And I was so captivated by what he was doing. But the stuff, like, I know we were just breaking the ice because that was really, really the sort of classic Rene Lavand, but it gets deeper. There's this rabbit hole goes much deeper, right?
It's volumes of magic. It's an entire body of work, but it's all very stylistically unified. I mean, you know, his style. He's a storyteller. He's a poet. Like, when you saw him, Adam, was there an interpreter, or do you remember just sort of not knowing what the language was and yet being able to follow and be mesmerized by the effects anyway? Or you have no memory either way?
I don't remember. I just remember that one fact that I didn't realize that he only had one hand. I didn't even know that.
When you say that, it reminds me of Richard Turner. Richard Turner is a famous card magician, famous close-up magician. He's blind, and he doesn't make any mention of it in the show, and the hosts don't make any mention of it. And you know, I don't know if his goal is for people not to notice or for them to work it out on their own, but, you know, I just think that's interesting. Did you just think he had his hand in his pocket for a good long while?
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
I'm very curious, Alex. Is there another Rene Lavand in here coming up for us?
Yeah.
Oh, this set goes on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get in there.
Thank you. Gusta mucho. Listen. Can you do the trick with the black and the red? The
black and
rojo
red.
y negro?
Negro y rojo.
Negro y rojo.
Red. Slow.
Yeah, this is great.
Slow.
I'm sorry, madam, sir. I don't speak English.
That's okay.
52 cards.
They don't speak Spanish. It's okay.
Form the deck.
Yep.
52 cards. Shuffle and cut.
Yeah, shuffle.
Okay?
Yes, it's good.
Shuffle and cut.
Shuffle and cut, yes.
Okay, it is black, red, black,
Yep.
red,
Yep.
black.
Okay.
Okay. 3 black, 3 red. Black.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Here. Black. Here.
Yes.
3 black.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Red.
Yes.
Black. Red. Black. Red. Black.
Yes.
It can't be made slower.
Red. I love how he says red.
Red.
Oh, come on.
O quizás,
Again, yes.
o quizás se pueda hacer más lento.
More slowly.
Quizás, no
For
lo
me,
sé, I
for
don't
me,
know.
for me.
Black. Here. Okay?
Yes.
Black. Here. 2 black. Sorry.
Yes.
Black. Red. Black. Red. Black, no? Yes.
Yes, it's black. Yeah.
Red. Black.
Yes.
It can't be made slower.
Oh.
O quizás se puede hacer más lento.
Yes, I think they want to see it again. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they work it out this time. Okay, good.
Camera, please.
Yeah.
Cámara. Cut. Black. Here. Correct. Black. Slow. Slow. To black. Black. Red. 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 Black. Red. Black. Red. Black. It can't be made slower.
Yeah, you're just watching that each time. I mean, yeah, man, I love it. So good.
So good, man. It's so good.
Do you know what always just gets me is you got a guy like, he's done so much work on something so specific, spent a lifetime creating something that's incredibly entertaining and impossible on a couple of levels. And when that guy goes, he wrote a book, but that's it. It just goes, and thank God we have video because, I mean, it's incredible.
No one will believe it. No.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like right there with, like you were saying, Richard Turner, right? I mean, it's incredible.
Do you mean that about all magicians, or do you mean like,
No, I definitely don't mean it about all magicians. Definitely not.
Well, I mean good magicians. You mean like, because it's like it only exists when they're there doing it for you, really.
Yeah, I think magic more than anything else is about this moment right now. It's happening to all of us right now in this moment, and as great as this is, I mean, it would have been so great to be there with him,
Right. But to Aaron's point, I think all the greats are like that. You could see all of them, like think about a guy like Tommy Wonder. It's the same thing, right? Like he's like, there's not going to be another guy that's Tommy Wonder.
You know what? There's a lot of great magicians, okay? But then there's a few that just transcend all that and are like, if the wider culture enjoyed magic, they would be like, Cher and, you know what I mean? They'd be like all the big names that everyone would know that we know.
Right.
Are you saying that in your mind, when you see something like that, there's a big difference between, like, we can get an album, we get a record album, we can listen to our favorite band, and plenty of it we can take home and listen to. But this stuff,
for sure, George,
you like the recording just is never going to be. We all know a lot of the people that see us these days have never been to an old school magic convention, CC Summit, and the electricity of getting to be in the room with. I remember meeting Rene Lavand, and he was glowing. Like when I met Rene Lavand, he had such gravitas. It was almost like meeting Rolando Santos. He was glowing, and intense to be in the room with him. And then when a fellow in that class would sit down and get ready to do some magic, you would just feel the vibration so deep inside you, and it's something that a great magician can do. And that oil and water, just, if you want just a little compare and contrast, that first routine was beautiful and incredible, right? Beautiful and incredible and wonderful. But then take a look at that escalation. And
I've never liked an oil and water routine except that one.
I don't even know if there's another phase. I bet there might even be.
There might be one more.
How about the way he's displaying those cards?
Yeah,
right?
well, you have to come up with your own techniques. You have to find those little moments where there might even be the possibility of trying to create like a move or something that could make that deception happen, because it's so clean. It looks like he does nothing, and with all happening within one hand, it's like, how? Where? There's no room.
And those cards look like they have literally been through the washing machine.
You know what I think is that if you noticed, it's different. So when we shuffle cards, we shuffle like this with two hands, right? So our cards get bent this way, but he's doing the in the hand shuffle, so he needs them to be bent this way, and that's why they're looking so like you would almost do a 3-card Monty with them, right? They're so buckled because he needs them to have a different bend to them.
Well, it's systemic. I mean, he had to do a suite of several things, but they all
Exactly right.
Use the table in his hand. And just one thing,
So
Adam.
great.
Yeah, I was just taking a look at the way those cards are bent. You're right. They're totally bent up like this.
Yeah.
That way.
Last night you were talking about Gene Mays.
Yeah.
You were talking about Gene Mays and how Gene Mays had this specialty grip for doing his famous bottom deal magic. And he had very big hands, which were much bigger than mine, and therefore you probably look, more like this grip could make sense. But if you take a look at Rene's grip, it's hypnotic to watch, it's fascinating to watch, but it doesn't feel unnatural. Now, part of that is him not having another hand. That puts a lot of sensibility into all the displays.
Might I ask?
Yeah.
I was just going to ask a question. He actually has a hand. I think the arm is paralyzed, right?
I thought the hand was mangled. The hand itself was.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
asking.
there was an accident, and the hand actually is like disfigured, and he doesn't have full control over it, and that's why it's just in the pocket.
Right. How many of us would just go in the tank instead of develop a whole act?
I think
man,
You know what I mean by go in the tank?
Yeah.
Good.
Cry in your bed for just
Yeah.
years.
Instead of becoming a master of one-handed magic instead, right?
That lady in Tiger King just had it amputated.
Yeah, whatever. Get back to work in 7 days.
I think he had a chance to do all of that and then start over. I think he had a chance to lose his whole life and then decide to rebuild one.
Yep.
That's right. Because all that stuff happened when he was really young too. So, and I don't think he became a professional magician until he was like in his late 30s or something like that.
How many people do you think said to him, hey, I'm going to be a magician? Oh, you can't be a magician. It's impossible. You only have one hand.
Well, if it's like a lot of the humans you meet in America.
I know, right?
If,
That's what I was trying to say.
it could happen today, people would say to you,
Monty Gilbert, for sure.
look at Rene Lavand. You need an example that it can be done? Look at Rene Lavand. But at that point, they couldn't say that. All they knew is that McDonald managed to figure out how to do a good trick with double facers. That was his solution. And that was pretty great. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Quizás se pueda hacer más lento. I don't know. Con todas las cartas boca arriba.
Yes, face up. Yes?
Black.
Yes.
Red. Sorry.
It's okay.
Black. Red.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Red.
Yeah.
Ok.
Yeah.
Ok. Vamos a corroborar. Black. Here. Red. Here. Black. Red. Black. Red.
Yes.
It can't be made slower. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's very good. Yo agradezco muy sinceramente tu invitación a este programa maravilloso que me ha permitido venir al Reino Unido y conocerlo y conocer su gente. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Y quiero terminar.
He's now mixing the cards all up, face down. He's shuffling and everything.
Quiero terminar este juego, claro. Tal cual lo empecé. Imbricando las cartas así, en una mezcla americana. Shuffle and cut.
Shuffle, yeah, good.
Good?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Shuffle
Good
and
shuffle,
cut.
good.
It can't
That's all the hearts,
be made
clubs, all the diamonds,
slower.
and all the spades, and they're all in the right order.
You can see the bow of those cards now, can't you?
Yeah.
Take that, Paul Daniels.
What is the deal?
My act would get so much better if I had an accent.
What is the deal with you?
You
Move
chose
to-
the card.
Again,
Just
it
move to a
can.
different country, Steve, and you'll have an accent.
That's right. Alex, that's genius.
Ron Porter says, Rene. Thanks, Ron. You're Johnny on the spot this week. Rene Lavand was born in Argentina in 1928 and became interested in magic at the age of 6. At the age of 9, he lost his right hand as a result of the car accident. And I think
That's very early.
There it is. Look at you.
That's really
Thanks,
early.
buddy.
not I think by putting it in his pocket, he keeps it from drawing all the attention.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because like Adam said, you didn't even notice until the show was over. You went, oh, right. I guess he did never use that.
He just seems super casual.
Yeah, it looks like a choice that was made for its own sake, you know? It looks like it's designed to make things clearer. Like the whole thing of the act, technically, is I can't do it any slower.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
And then, of course, and this is the thing that blows my mind, is that he really focuses his magic on having something to say. And one wonders the extent to which that one can't, I mean, he wrote about it in his book, but you know, that as much an adaptation as anything else, right? With we magicians, it's very easy to have the audience focused on what's happening in our hands. And he decided to go to a deeper source for the energy of the magic, you know?
Right. All of those card effects become like punctuation for the poetry and for the stories he's telling. Yeah, it's really amazing. He really found his way in that what could have just been a huge catastrophe that ends your life, and he turned it into inspiration for the rest of the world. So,
when I think about, like, if I had to choose which hand to give up, like, that would be like, that's a tough choice, you know?
Right.
Like,
do you want to lose dealing grip, or do you want to be able to deal?
Not really.
Right. Like, which one, Aaron? Which one? You know?
Can I ask you one quick
You want
question?
to lose your bass hand or your treble hand, dude?
Yeah, as a keyboardist, do you feel, because they have the same actions. In Magic, you have different duties assigned to each relative to the deck. One deck holds pinky breaks, one hand doesn't. You know, there's a whole different thing. It seems like when you play the keyboard that you largely have to do the same stuff with both hands. Is that an illusion? Or do they have the same thing?
No, I mean, they do have different duties, but when you're first learning, you're learning most of your scales and most everything with both hands at the same time. So, you know, but they do different functions. But I couldn't choose. I mean, that'd be a tough choice.
Jason Dean told me something about my own magic once that kind of blew my mind, and I never heard it until I was hanging with Jason Dean a lot. We were at summer camp sessioning all the time, and I was trying to teach him all these passes that I do and all this stuff. And Jason was the first person to bring to my attention that he feels like a lot of what's happening in my magic comes from me being a left-handed person, like when I write, right? But I do magic right-handed, which means that in theory, there are some moves which you have to do with this hand, do the key things, but it's not your dominant hand because the decision's made on a hierarchical level, right? You have to decide which hand to hold the deck in for dealing position. And most of us stick with that hand throughout all of our stuff for dealing position. So that means, you know, for example, some people prefer palming with the right hand, right? I think you might find that right-hand palmers are either people who love palming with the right hand, who choose it every time, either are right-handed or never knew that there was a decision to be made. There's plenty of people, like, I didn't know that I should have done magic left-handed. I learned how to do it right-handed, got through the worst of it. But that sometimes means that there's things I'm using my left hand for, which most people don't get to use their left hand for. So if I had to choose, I don't think I could. It reminds me of your card stab with your toes, buddy. It's one of those things where I would almost rather do anything than make a choice. Like if you're like, I'm making you make a choice, you're like, no, won't make a choice.
Kind of the good news is you generally don't get to choose. It's kind of good news, but it's really not good news.
That is definitely the most bright side point of view I've ever heard about anything.
You don't get to choose.
Part about losing a hand is you don't get to choose which one.
You got to protect those suckers.
In some instances, though, like let's say you wronged the mob or the mafia, right? They might give you a choice. So we're going to cut off one. We're going to let you choose. So now you have the agony of getting to choose which is got to go.
Adam,
Quite a hypothetical.
Quite a hypothetical.
I say to you, which hand do you use the most? Can you do that? It's like casino, right? Oh, you do all those moves with your chips.
That's such a great scene.
You do all that stuff with. Let me see. Which hand's the more skillful one? Wow. So that's the one you need the most. All right. I'll take care of you. Then you break that one. You don't say, which one do you want to lose? Say, which hand could you not live without? I want to take care of you. I want to make sure you're what you need to move on. You know, I need my left hand. Just don't take my left hand.
Just remember the answer to that question is, you know, it's really my foot. My foot is what I really need the most. My left foot. I couldn't do without the foot. Guys, Paul Daniels had a lot of great magicians on his show over the years, but we picked the top ones for you. This one right here is, well, if you've never seen Leonard Green, then you should watch. A lot of people are probably discovering new magicians today, and this is what happens. We're turning you guys on to some of the people we have loved over the years. Aaron?
This one could not be any different than the other one. Like if you could take two opposite poles of card handling styles, you would choose these two dudes, right? They could see if you can watch Leonard Green and see if you can figure out what his deal was, right?
All right, let's check it out.
Sweden, Leonard Green.
Good evening, card lovers and card sharks. And hello, Paul.
And me.
Yeah, hello. As a matter of fact, I will not do card tricks. Paul told me to, instead of that, reveal the card sharks' moves.
The methods, yes.
The methods,
How did
yes.
they do it?
Yeah, but we decided to go one step ahead and explain how to beat them. That is more interesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Very.
How to beat the hard guys in Vegas, for example. Well, I put this on the floor. Okay.
Where I file mine.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Good. Anyone said the sleeves? No.
Alex, did he just do two completely different methods of false shuffles right in a row?
Yeah.
He's that way, yes.
Amazing.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. There's no rhyme or reason to nothing.
Nothing.
No, he's
Right.
he's on another level. I got to spend about a week and a half with this guy when he shot his original videos with A1, and every single day my mind was blown just watching this guy. Like, how do you even exist, man?
He's like they said in that movie Grease, the rules are there are no rules.
Two completely different methods of a full deck false shuffle right off the bat. Amazing.
No, I don't hide any aces in the sleeve.
No.
Can I take it
Sure,
off?
you want to take it off? You take it off. Yeah.
You too?
No.
What did you say, Aaron?
But don't worry about keeping the method secret till the trick's over or anything.
No. I'm not
Do it.
appearing naked before my public. Yeah. Yes. No, I know that woman in the front wants me to, but I'm not going to do it. Yeah. And the watch comes off, so there's now nowhere you can cheat.
Nothing to watch.
No
Yeah.
sleeves, no watches,
Good.
no, nothing in the hands, no? Okay.
Yeah. We look at some cards.
Yeah, that's a random mixture.
No, this is not a mixture. That was a false cut.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look good to me.
And here's another one. But I will not do these rubbish moves. No.
That's why.
No.
It's beautifully simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First, one method of how to locate any card. Any card.
Any card.
Please name any card, anyone.
Yeah, if I did it. Pardon, what? Queen of Hearts. Oh,
Queen of Hearts.
From the back
Yeah.
row.
From the back row.
Queen of Hearts, yeah.
Yeah. How to find, first to find Queen of Hearts, and then how to deal Queen of Hearts
Yeah.
on a simple way. For example, say stop.
Stop.
Yeah. Maybe I miss. No, I didn't. No Queen of Hearts.
Very good.
Actually,
Once you can look, more or less, every time he cuts the deck, it almost looks like he hasn't ever done it before, and he's trying to figure out how it works. Like every time he cuts the deck, he's like, "How the hell do I do this?" And that's literally the subtext of it each time. And so when you're saying he does these different false shuffle, it's literally like he's trying to work out how one would mix the cards if one had to, right now. You know, so it's like, well, let's try it this way. You know, so it's. totally opposite of Rene Lavand, right? I mean, he's definitely working it out. Of course, it's an illusion, right? That's why he's a world champion.
Now I did a center shot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't see it
with the
go.
pinky. Another, now I reverse the card so you can follow. Now I do a top shot.
Yeah? Wow.
You see? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, directly in the palm.
Yeah, great.
And then I can put it here or keep it.
Yes?
Yeah. And if I reverse and shoot it back,
Yeah.
then you can say stop.
Stop.
Go.
Now,
Thank you.
That's bananas, dude.
mhm.
It's
Now
a
Okay,
okay. It's
the
Huh?
magician crack.
Yeah.
It's designed to be magician crack. Like magicians, I've seen magicians watch magic, the greatest magic lectures live, and I know all of you have too. The responses Leonard gets are a combination of the amazing stuff and the total incoherence of the handling. You know, there's something about it that makes it feel even more skillful because it looks like he's learning to shuffle. Mind blowing.
tabletop is
I
loose.
bend the corner so you can follow the card, right? We take, then only the corner went, and the queen is still left.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting, yes.
Another center deal. You know, bottom deal is too easy for us.
Of
and
course,
a
yes.
second deal,
Oh, nothing.
Center deal. How to deal from the center.
Okay. How do you deal from the center?
Right. If I have a dice here, 6, 5, 4, name the number of the die.
3.
Die 3. The third card will be Queen of Hearts. 1, 2, and 3. Now, explanation.
Okay.
Yeah. In slow motion.
Okay.
When this hand comes,
Yeah.
first 1,
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Now the dirty work. Look.
Yeah.
I squeeze the hand, you see the queen,
Yeah.
and then I did it. But
That's how you do it.
Yeah, yeah. But when I do it fast, it's impossible. But still faster move is another center deal. You see, put the ace.
Yeah.
But now I square. But
Yeah.
still a little shadow. It's enough.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, a little. It's
Maybe a 30-second of an inch. Yeah, small.
almost. Now, but I do it in slow motion. Look.
Yeah. Very slow.
He was like,
My gosh.
Leonard Green was like,
What's that?
he was like 30 seconds of an inch, and Leonard Green was like, don't guess.
Not quite. Not quite.
Yeah. Just look pretty.
How is Leonard Green?
How old is he?
How is he?
He's like right now. I don't know. Alex got a better experience. I got lost with him in Japan while we were there performing.
Well, I
And
think he had a stroke.
no, this
I
was.
hadn't heard that.
Yeah, he did.
I would not blame.
2 years ago, maybe.
Stroke. This was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well,
I love him. I love his chaos. There's another. We should do a thing on him.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, we
plenty
could.
of stuff to dig into.
He's so great.
last night we did a whole palming workshop for the members. We talked to, as Steve taught the cops he uses, Alex was teaching top palms, Adam was teaching one-handed palms. We were teaching a lot of palms last night. I can feel our members right now being like, well, I don't think you taught us a lateral palm last night. Well, Leonard Green, like obviously, either that or, he's pulling them out of nowhere. Leonard Green just literally spent the last 10 minutes producing cards from lateral palm.
And that top shot, that thing is a killer, right?
He's a real BS artist in a very good way. He is definitely ham dogging people on the whole time. It's like you can only tell he's lying if his lips are moving.
Oh, wait till he starts throwing science into the mix, right? He starts talking about fractals and how it has something to do with the card tricks, and like, the whole thing's just a big glowing object in front of you, you know? It's so good.
That's another big difference between Rene Lavand, right? He's speaking about his heart, his life, and his pain, and his love. And Leonard is speaking about, you know.
Do you know what I love about Leonard Green? What I love about Leonard Green is that it never feels like it's not real, right? It never feels like his chaos, his I'm so clumsy, it's a mess. It never feels like a put on. It feels like real, like this is really it.
It's the reason the whole thing works.
Yeah, it's the reason it works. And that just tells you he's a tremendous actor on top of it all, right? Because he's just, it just seems natural and how he really is. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
After getting lost with him in Japan, I can say I'm not sure it's an act.
That's okay then. Then he's just taking himself, right? And, you know, that's the hardest thing to do.
Do you remember the first time you saw Bill Murray do an interview?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't it break your preconceived notion of his personality entirely? I remember thinking he was one kind of guy.
Right.
Movies I'd seen, Ghostbusters, Stripe.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
But then as soon as he was in an interview, it was like he literally, oh, I can do lines great, but I can't put two together that I make up in real time. That's not my thing. You know?
I love that story about Bill Murray, about how they actually did not know that he was going to show up on the set of Ghostbusters till the day they started filming.
Yeah.
He was off. Alex told me a similar story about the Grateful Dead going to Manhattan while Bill Murray was on Saturday Night Live, and apparently he led his brother Brian Doyle Murphy to believe that he couldn't be bothered to worry about the Grateful Dead. He had a gig these days. It just sort of what happened?
Yeah, he was like the Grateful Dead's in town. They're playing Madison Square Garden, and he just assumes, well, my brother Bill, he knows the Grateful Dead. I didn't have to buy tickets. I never thought about tickets, but we're like, hey, it's afternoon. What about that show that's happening tonight at Madison Square Garden? And Bill didn't seem concerned about it, never said a word about it. They spend their afternoon just going through New York City, hanging out, and eventually Bill's like, hey, man, we should get a drink. Let's go to this bar. And they go to this bar, and all of a sudden, like, every member of the Grateful Dead comes into this bar, and they're just hanging out, and this whole place just turns into a scene in this bar. And, of course, they're going to Madison Square Garden. It's just they're going to go with the entire entourage to Madison Square Garden. And he just didn't see it coming, and it was like a big magic trick that Bill pulled on his brother. It's pretty cool.
You know, it's great. We started today asking the question, what's the deal with Paul Daniels? We went a long way around, but I think at the end of the day, I think the answer is that Paul added a great deal to our art. I mean, he exposed the world to great magicians, people that you wouldn't have seen otherwise through his television shows. So, you know what? At the end of the day, I think I give Paul Daniels 2 thumbs up. I say, good job, man.